the former governor and United States Senator from the great state of Kansas, who served as Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom during the first Trump administration, Sam Brownback. Ambassador, always great to see you, and Merry Christmas to you, sir.
Yeah, good to see you, Tom.
Yeah. So perhaps some relief for Nigeria's Christian community, your reaction to the strikes of Christmas Day.
I was really pleased to see it taking place. As much as you don't like to see the United States using military force, this situation has just gotten so bad for so long, for so many throughout Nigeria, and I really think was threatening to topple the Nigerian government. So I think the Nigerian government honestly looked at this as a bit of a lifeline to them. That Northwest region has been controlled, many of the areas, by terrorist organizations for some period of time. Attack Christians if they're around, and they attack Muslims if they don't agree with them. The bigger issue is going to be that middle belt region of Nigeria, where you got these Fulani herdsmen that are attacking Christian villages generally. More difficult politically for the Nigerian government to deal with. They don't want to see this as a Muslim versus Christian war and conflict, but in many respects it is. It's not exclusively that, but it is a good portion of that.
Yeah. The Nigerian Ministry of Foreign Affairs had confirmed that they cooperated with the strikes. The U.S. Africa Command says initial assessments believe that multiple ISIS terrorists were killed. In 2024, just so that people understand the scale of this, nearly 6,000 Christians were either killed or kidnapped. Through the middle of this year, that number topped 7,000. What other steps, Ambassador, have been or really need to be taken to safeguard this population?
I think you're going to have to deal with structural reforms in Nigeria. I think you're going to have to make it such that the Christians can protect themselves, particularly in this middle belt region. I think you're going to have a real war on terrorism in the northern part of Nigeria. And I think you've got to push the Nigerian government to be balanced, to follow justice. They used to require that the president be of one religion, Muslim or Christian, and the vice president of the other. They didn't do that this last election cycle, and I think they need to get back to that, to where they get some sort of religious balance. This is a very religious population in Nigeria, wonderful nation, but they're going to have to deal with some of these structural issues that have led to so much violence on Christians in that country.
You know, we tend to think, when we think about religious persecution, it's often framed by conflicts in the Middle East, for instance. But Christian persecution is widespread. It is a global issue. Earlier this year, you were in Africa. You held a conference there, and I want you to talk to us, if you can, about the challenge more broadly in Africa, in particular, when it comes to Christian persecution and religious freedom.
You really have the beginnings, unfortunately, of a religious war throughout the middle of Africa. And what it is you got radical Islamic terrorist groups and organizations coming down from the north and attacking generally the Christian middle and southern part of Africa. And if we don't get on top of this, you're going to see this boil over into many countries in that continent. It's a very religious continent, as I mentioned earlier. And these are often the defining features of people, whether they're a Christian or a Muslim. You're going to see that really spill over into a lot of places in Africa. And you're right, Christian persecution just isn't Africa. It's around the world. We're seeing it at levels that have never been experienced by Christendom before.
President Trump has made protecting religious freedom at home and abroad a major component of his agenda, thankfully. You and I have discussed at length how important it is to project our religious liberty values at home and abroad. He has nominated former North Carolina Congressman Mark Walker to the post that you once held, but his nomination has been languishing in the Senate for many months. Why is this being held up, and what is your message to the Senate about the importance of this appointment?
Well, I think this is a critical appointment that needs to take place. It's not unusual for things to get held up in the U.S. Senate. I was a former senator, and I got held up until the second year of the first Trump administration. I just think right after the first of the year, the Senate really needs to get behind this and pass this nominee. That's the key person for the Trump administration. That's the point person on this fight on a global basis. And it's not just Christian persecution, it's everybody. And it's not really just about religion. It's really about human rights. And it's about our difference with communism, too, because communist China is one of the lead proponents and the facilitator of religious persecution in so many places around the world. It's one of our big differences and conflicts with China.
Absolutely. And of course, communism fundamentally atheist in its ideology, because the state is the religion. I wish they would teach more of that in our schools. Let's look ahead, Ambassador, to 2026 when it comes to religious liberty issues. Other than continued engagement on Nigeria, what other areas deserve attention?
I think you really have got to focus on what communism is doing and what the PRC, the Communist Party of China, is doing. And they're expanding. Now in Nicaragua, you can't bring a Bible into Nicaragua. That goes back to the Soviet era when you couldn't carry a Bible in with you. That's because of its increasing relationship with the PRC and the Chinese Communist Party. I think we've really got to confront this on a global basis, and we've got to make religious freedom this foundational cornerstone human right. You get this one right, you can build your other human rights of of freedom of speech and freedom of assembly. Right. And build these things off of that. But if you don't get this one right, it's just much easier to persecute people. And we're seeing authoritarians around the world go at religious communities more than ever before, and it's such a more organized fashion. So I think it's got to become a bigger piece of our foreign policy and national security issue.
Absolutely. They don't call it our first freedom for nothing. It is the foundation of all of the others, and we appreciate the work that you do, Ambassador. Former Ambassador at Large for International Religious Freedom, Sam Brownback. Merry Christmas to you, sir. Thank you for being with us today.
Take care.
Information. Truth is freedom. Is Newsmax. It's real news for real people.